Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So in today's video I am going to go over my bog barrels and just have a look to see how they are compared to the stuff in the greenhouse. So I haven't been able to do a video, we've had a couple of bank holiday weekends and everybody's basically been in their gardens. So you know, parties and children screaming all the time, so it's been practically impossible to be out here and film. But came back from work literally not too long ago and decided that I came out here and it was quiet and I was like, I'll seize the opportunity. So I thought I'd pick a quick video to do, so I thought I'd quickly go out and do my bog barrels. They don't usually take too long, just kind of looking over where the plants are at. So you can probably see that my plants in the greenhouse are now in flower. So I've got my Sarracenia and I'm just doing my first crosses. So Sarracenia pollination videos and all that will be coming very soon, so stay tuned for that. But for now I'm just going to go over the bog barrels, and you'll notice that they are a lot further behind than the stuff in the greenhouse, but they're also a lot further behind than they usually are this time of year as well, purely because obviously the harsh winter that we did get as well has just obviously made it a bit slower, especially for stuff outside. So it's still coming along quite nicely, so still a few things to show, so I hope you enjoy. Okay, so this is my first bog barrel. So this is the one that I have not really touched ever. The only thing I've ever kind of additionally planted in here is the pings that you can now see at the back that are flowering. So I've actually got a lot of flowers this year, as you could probably see. So at the front here, my Catsby Cross Purpurea is flowering for the first time. It's tried to flower in previous years and it got snapped off by, I think, birds or insects, but it's actually got two. So I actually, because obviously the hard winter that we had this year, everything has been obviously cut back and completely died back a lot more than usual. So this Sarracenia in particular usually keeps all of its leaves or pitchers each year, and so far there's only one left, obviously it's quite tattered, but usually it keeps quite a few of them, especially the bigger ones. But you can see it is slowly starting to come back. Because this one's obviously been planted in here a few years now, it's divided into three, so you can see the individual growth points. So it's got one here from where that flower's coming from, and this one here, plus another rhizome point there. So this is a really nice beautiful plant. It gets really dark colours, so I can show you obviously a couple of pictures over the top of this just to kind of show you what it looked like last year. Moving on to the Purpurea venosa over here. So once again, same kind of thing. I've only really got the one picture left on it with some very tiny ones at the base here. But once again, you can see the new growth that is slowly coming back. Everything obviously is a lot more further behind in the bog than obviously in the greenhouse, due to obviously just being exposed to the elements. So this is my amazing Sarracenia cutlery. So I really like this one, really nice bronze tinged pictures. The only thing obviously with this one, I think it has been eaten by, yes, there you go, slugs and snails have been my enemy this year, even in the greenhouse actually. And you can see that I think it had 13 flowers on it, I haven't actually properly counted, and a lot of them have been damaged by slugs and snails all over. Some of the nice bigger flowers that are about to open obviously have not, so that's okay. I might cross with this one. I've done a few crosses when I can before in the past. But you can actually see the flowers are quite short this year on the Sarracenia. So you can see this one's about to open, but obviously the petals are about to drop, and obviously you can see how loose it is. Same with this one here, but usually they're a lot taller. So I'm guessing due to the harsh winter, I've got some shorter flower buds this year. But you can also see how many pictures. So I think this plant has literally divided. When I first got it, it was about a rhizome about this size, just a single one. And as you can see, it's a massive clump now. It's all gone to the side of the bog there. Loads of flowers, even actually you can see another flower coming there. So you can see how it's all different forming. The only thing again, you can see slugs and snails have started tipping the tops of my pictures there, but obviously it does usually create such a nice display, obviously with so many pictures, due to obviously being such a nice lovely plant. And the one next to it, which was a little bit smaller when I got it and it hasn't divided as much, but it's still got a good amount of plants on it. I think it has got about 6 plants on this one now. Is another flava. So this is a Flava ornata, which I think is a swamp county. So this one is again got some flowers that are obviously nearly open. Again, similar kind of height to the one before. These pictures are obviously a little bit further along, as you can see, due to the height and shape of them. But again, nice plant with lots of rhizomes coming. You can see in the past where I've cut the flowers off of this one as well. Don't usually cross with this one, but it does have a nice triangle shaped picture, which again I can show pictures of. But yeah, really nice plants. The Sarracenia are doing really well, starting to come back quite nicely. At the bottom here I've got the Pinguicula grandiflora. So as this one is a UK native, I like to keep it in my bogs. It does a lot better out here than obviously in the greenhouse, due to obviously being exposed to, you know, the weather and all that. So lovely, lovely purple flower. So you can see it's actually spread this year. So this one I think I did put in there either last year or year before, and it produced some Gammier, which I've actually just found scanning over the bog. So obviously when it fills up with water in the winter and it rains, the Gammier gets distributed. So all these little tiny pings here are from the Gammier of the plant. So you can see they're just hiding underneath all this debris and old pictures here. So they'll just grow eventually and form little clusters. And there's some at the back here, which you can see a bit better too. Oh yeah, I've just found even more at the back, you can see trailing along here. So that's obviously just distributed, which is quite nice because it's quite natural as well. So over here I've got my cluster of fly traps. So originally I think there was 4 planted, so you can see there's the 1, 2, 3, 4 main plants, and they've now slowly started to divide naturally over the years. I think these ones have been in here for about 3 years now, maybe even 4. And you can see here, so this one's obviously got a tail end with a small fly trap there, and this one's actually divided quite nicely. So you can see it's got several growth points now, so from here, here and here, probably even one in the middle, so there's about 3 or 4 plants there. This one makes a really nice display because when the traps get bigger and obviously the petioles are longer, then it will cover out this kind of portion of the bog, and it's quite nice. I'll show you a picture from last year. Nice little cascade with some nice obviously traps as well, and you can just about see the flower stalks just coming on these as well, and all the plants. So yeah, that will be a nice display as well once obviously they get going too. So the last thing in the bog to show off is my Drosophiliformis. So it's a lovely cluster forming plant. So this was again just a small 1 or 2 I think plants when I originally put this in, and it's now divided into about 5 or 6 plants. I have noticed that not all of it's made it through the winter, so I think there's 1 or 2 plants at the back here that just did not make it, and obviously they've rotted off. But obviously it's still quite nice that the front displaying piece is nice and dewy. These catch usually a nice abundance of insects because they just kind of catch them as they fly through, and obviously a really nice clump forming one as well that spreads quite readily. So it's a nice addition to one, obviously very hardy as well. I've also just noticed that you might have been able to see in the background is the Pinguicula grandiflora that's also spread all out the front of the bog as well, which again would have been distributed by rainfall during the winter. So it's quite nice that there's actually nice clusters, more there actually, just all the way around the bog. So that's quite a nice addition. That should actually grow some nice plants, which I'll probably be able to take out and divide at a later date. And then finally, this is my other bog. So this one, which you might have noticed from many of my videos, that I'm always changing the display layout and design of this one with different plants or swapping the plants. But I think, but don't hold my word to this, that I have actually decided on a kind of layout that I want it kind to establish. So like the other one, just let it naturally grow how it wants to. So this one is a more of a lower growing one. I've added actually some taller bits in now because I thought I'd need that high at the back. But just to kind of have more like the Pinguicula and the temperate Drosera as well. So firstly, I obviously got Sarracenia purpurea. This one is the subspecies purpurea, which is a lovely bred form of the Sarracenia, and these obviously do a lot better outside again due to how hardy they are. So I like to have as many purpureas outside as possible. Again, these ones, because they're so hardy, didn't really die off during the winter, and they obviously haven't had to. You can see how the old pictures are starting to die off now, but obviously we've got the new pictures coming along there. But they're a nice vibrant deep red colour, which is more of a greeny colour when they first open, and then they colour up into like a mature shape, and they catch the rainwater quite nicely. You can see it in the pictures. And then over here I have got my second purpurea, which is exactly the same as the first one, but as you can see it's been hit a bit harder. Still obviously got few pictures at the base coming though that you can see, and it has also been nibbled on something as well, so I don't know if that could be caterpillar damage or even slug snails again. That wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, so that one hasn't really been treated too well, and it's kind of been bashed about. At the back here I've got my Sarracenia Eva. So you can see again this one died completely back. It was hard cut back, so this was literally all it had. And then this bit, which was quite worrying at first because I didn't know what it was going to do, but it's actually now got a tail rhizome as well. So it has actually got 2 rhizomes, which is quite nice. and you can see the new growth coming. So it's always nice to see that they're coming back. I know that they're very hardy, and I don't know why it ever surprises me, but I think it's just because I'd never had the -7 with the collection before, and obviously these bog planters were frozen for almost a week, where we just stayed minus temperatures during the day as well. So it was kind of like a Thursday to a Thursday where these were just frozen solid. So I was, you know, questioning the hardiness, but I don't know why I did, because obviously I should know by now that these are very hardy, and obviously they haven't really lost anything on here. You know, just had a bit more damage and a bit more dieback, but other than that they're perfectly fine and come back, so always a nice thing to keep in mind. And then I added this Darlingtonia in the bog this year. So I actually did this one recently, added this one in. So I thought it'd be quite nice to obviously have a Darlingtonia in here when it gets a bit bigger, to add that height. So it does have new growth coming. It is obviously laying down at the moment. It was a bit happier when I put it in. And then we had more frost, so it didn't really like me for that as much. Then looking at the Drosera, so in this one I have the UK native temperate Drosera, which includes the Drosera rotundifolia, which unfortunately I think this is actually the only one that came back. So actually I did have some losses in terms of these, which you can kind of see here. So there's a hybernacular which tried to open, but you can see it's been affected by probably the frost. It's got little black tips. And this one over here I think has just rotted off completely. You can see it tried, but it's just all gone mushy. This one over here is Drosera anglica, so they are slowly, some of them starting to come back. As you can see here, it's getting its first little dew bits on there. And I think got another anglica over here, so there's 2 or 3 plants on this one bit here. But you can see kind of how unhappy they were looking when they started coming back. They started opening and then got hit again. So it's nice to see that they actually finally are coming back with dew and everything else. But not as many. There's another one over here, which I think is another anglica, or could potentially be an intermedia. But you can see it's only just starting to come out, but it's green, so I'm quite happy with this one. That it's just a little bit later than the others, and it hasn't gone brown, so hopefully it'll come back. So yeah, I think that is it, because I did have some other little bits coming. And then I recently, which was literally the other day, just put in a little plug of Drosera intermedia. So these are seeds that I'd sown myself, and they were taking up space and I wanted to get rid of the pot, so I just stuck them in here as literally a cluster. So you can see where they've come up, so hopefully they'll all obviously get a bit bigger and spread out, and I'll be able to divide them up and place them elsewhere. And the last thing I could show off is the Pinguic grandiflora in here. So I have a lot more of these in here. This was originally designed for around the Pinguic grandiflora. I tried to get them in a nice kind of cascade with all their flowers. It kind of didn't really work the way I wanted it to. I wanted them kind of all at the front piece here, which originally I tried to plant. It didn't happen, and they just decided they wanted to be wherever they wanted to be. So I decided to basically go with that kind of pattern, and you can see that they are everywhere in the bog. So at the back, so it's quite nice that the maturer ones obviously have flowers on, so it still might create a nice display, as you can see. So got that flush of purple, so instead of just a patch of it, it will hopefully, obviously next year when the younger ones will flower, you'll get a nice purple pattern across before obviously the other colours come into play. So it's not too bad, and obviously it works quite well. The flowers are still beautiful and the plants are still amazing. But again, you can see with these ones, especially I think this one at the front here, I didn't harvest any of the Gammier this year, but you can see that obviously where I hadn't, they've started obviously just forming around the bases of the plants. So it gives a little bit more of a natural look, I guess, keeping it like that. But yeah, so hopefully this one will establish quite nicely, and I'll actually be able to leave it alone for once and be happy with what I've actually put in here. Okay, so that was just a quick look over of the bog barrels. So as you can see, they're obviously a lot further behind than the stuff in the greenhouse, but they're coming along quite nicely, and hopefully they'll still make the nice summer displays that they usually do. Obviously accounting for the weather, but now we're getting nice warmer days, a little bit of rainfall, which always helps. You know, it's kind of brightening up and everything's coming along, which is lovely to see, because obviously it was very touchy moments at some point. In the greenhouse, everything is excelling very quickly, so I'm starting to get my first pictures. My Asbo picture and my Oreophylla picture have just opened as well, so I will do both a greenhouse update, and obviously I've got pollination videos. I've got loads and loads of videos. I just, you know, hope I could try and catch them after work before everybody comes out into their gardens. So there's a couple of exciting things which I've just noticed and I thought I'd mention on the video to kind of show what to look forward to. is my tray of, obviously I've got all my Sarracenia seedlings which I've split and divide. They're all starting to opening, so I've been looking forward to seeing the traits of these with some like proper decent looking pictures. So this is a Arthur Wheeler Cross Asbo, and you can probably see the Asbo in it already. It's got a lovely nice kind of picture on it and a nice wide lid, so I was kind of saw that and was quite excited about the traits. And then the other thing is the lovely picture that's currently forming on my Hurricane Creek White F clone. So everybody knows that obviously I'm very excited when I got this one. Did an unboxing. This has been one of my wish list plants for years now, and to actually finally get one with a decent sized rhizome which has produced a nice decent sized picture as well, which you could already see that lovely vibrant white colour of it, and so it won't be long until that's open, so very excited for that one. Literally can't, looking at that every single day, scanning over it because I'm so excited for that to open. So yeah, stay tuned and hopefully I'll be able to actually get out here and do some bits and bobs in the evenings. But yeah, looking forward to showing you the updates because of how much it's kind of just burst within literally a matter of weeks. Everything has just happened due to obviously nice warm weather we've been having. So yeah, it will be really nice to show off.